this morning already. Been up for several hours looking at stuff. Made some interesting phone calls to some Mexicans. I also happened to pick up a membership over at Julian Dory, my own little credit card, just so I could get an early release on what a lot of gringos consider to be one of the premier cartel experts in the world, some Canadian chick with a belly button piercing, and I don't really care how that sounds because I don't. Her reporting on that stuff is offensive to me in as much as it's not substantiated or proven at all, and it's not even coming from someone that's actually worked there or a Mexican. So yeah, it's offensive. Not that I really care about people that are offended, and if I get offended, the same applies to me because I'm consistent with my principles. However, if you do respect something, you ought to substantiate your work and be professional about it if you want to be considered a serious journalist or whatever, which apparently she pretends to be. And let's be clear, I don't have a problem with Katerina Schultz, Julian Dory, Ed Calderon, Gafe 423, or anybody else finding an honest way to put food on their plate, man. I hope this is being a live video. It might break up a little bit. I hope it does not. But I'm just going to say that when I went and earned my uniform, I took the act of protecting children, men and women, and even men and women and children on both sides of the border, because the drug war affects us all. I took that seriously, and I still do. I do it to this day. I know that when I come out to you and put a video out, I am not as polished as other journalists. I'm not ever going to be. I did not go to school, and I still go to school. Continue to go to school. Logic and mathematics are more my thing, man. When I need social advice, I hit my wife up because she's great with it, and I'm kind of dense in that area, to be honest. I'm not going to be the greatest at everything. But I am cognizant enough to know that when I put out a video, it's not polished, and I get it. But when I put out these videos, I do so with the intent to make sure that people are well informed or educated, and I don't have a problem with Ed and Gafe and everybody out there doing videos on cartel stuff in any language, making a living and making the best life for themselves. In fact, I hope they do. I just hope that there are no lies involved or no sensationalism, and there is. And I've found it. I've encountered it on several different occasions. I've even proven it on several different occasions. And then when I ask to interact with these people, they run for me like I've got a can of Black Flag pest control, and they don't want to talk to me at all. And they ostracize me from their little community, which is fine. It's completely their right to do so. And I'm not, what's the good word for it, obsessed with anybody. I'm obsessed with making sure people get the truth. When people continue to come up with sensationalist and lies and not prove what they're saying, I have an issue with it. So, you know, Tucker Carlson the other day was talking about buying barrels of crude, sweet crude to be specific. There's another name for it too. And how people actually validated whether or not the price of crude is what it is. And so I took it upon myself to go buy a barrel of crude, which my wife was not happy about. Turns out a barrel of crude is 42 gallons. And then there's expansion after it's refined, and it actually comes out to be about 44 gallons. And so if you divide the price of gasoline into a gallon of, or a barrel of crude, you can come up with some pretty rough numbers about what things should cost in the United States. And I took the time to do all this, which is to say that I also take the time to go down lists of Mexican journalists who are not represented in the United States, right? Because I talk about that all the time. Why am I? Why is Ed Calderon? Why is Gafe 423? Why is Luis Chaparro, Rivera, Stefano Rittendale, Katerina Schultz, why are they the voceros, or the voices of cartel news in the United States, when there are so many bilingual Mexicans? I just got off the phone with one. Well, I left a message. of someone that's living in an American state. I'm not going to tilt my hand too much, but there are bilingual Mexicans that represent Mexican news agencies, and not Mexican news agencies that happen to be Mexican because they have a satellite station in Mexico, but really it's a derivative of a subsite of an American company, or even a Mexican company that was purchased by an American company with a Hispanic name at a later point in time, such as the case with Univision and Televisa. Televisa being a strictly Mexican company up until just a couple years ago. I go down and I look at what dates all of these shows started. Around 2016, right when Ed launched Manifesto Radio Podcast. So you have to look at whether or not everything is a complete government plot designed to sway things. And John Kiriakou gets into that, the CIA operative. And there is a lot of that going on, I'm certain, but not all of that. My wife and I were discussing it this morning over coffee. And she was telling me, David, it may be that one person made a channel, such as in the case of Sean Strickland, if you go look at his original videos, that they started making money off of it, and other people followed suit wanting to make money off of it, which is a completely legitimate claim. In fact, I believe that there's a lot of truth to that. That is more true than not. And also at the same time, people like Sean Ryan, excuse me, I may have said Sean Strickland, excuse me if I did. People like Sean Ryan, who have self-admitted to trying to set up drug rings in Colombia, being the voice for all things government and being behind getting Pete Hegseth into... He's got a very powerful platform, and when you're on YouTube, you come up with powerful platforms. But then these guys, people who admit to trying to sell drugs and set up drug rings in other countries, become these powerful platforms. All of a sudden, everything that winds up on their channel becomes gospel, which is what I'm not with. And now Sean Ryan and Tucker Carlson are sitting there doing lots of videos together too. I may be only a small channel. People may or may not like it. People may or may not listen to it. In fact, right now doing this live feed, I've only had like 1 or 2 people on it. People may or may not believe anything I have to say, but it is my responsibility to sit here and track all of this stuff down, because they're sitting there doing things that ultimately kill people in terms of predator drones, invasions, boots on the ground, CIA operatives killing people, etc. And if you think about the seriousness of that, if it was not a government behind it doing these things, anybody else would take anything like that extremely seriously, including someone even halfway threatening the government or a person online. You'll have someone calling the police so fast your head will spin, or putting at FBI so they can get someone to look at it. But when you start talking about killing thousands and thousands of people, as is the case in Gaza or other places, when it's done by the government, people don't take issue with it. I've seen enough death that I do take issue with it, and I don't ever want it to happen to anybody, not even the people that like me the least, right? So I'm compelled to do these videos out of my own pocket with my own limitations as far as my appearance, my level, my educational level, which is decent, but it's not a doctorate, it's not even a master's, it's not any of that. And with my budget, I have these limitations. They're temporary limitations, but they're limitations nonetheless. And I have to come out and put this stuff out. However, just what makes that little ant think he can move that rubber tree plant? I got high hopes, baby. So, you know, I love that song. It's Sunday morning. I'm driving to a yard sale right now. I'm a real dude. This video's gonna be 10 minutes long in a couple seconds. I'm gonna cut it off at that. But I did find some Mexicans from Mexico, from Ciudad de Mexico, that isn't an imported Mexican like Young Griot, isn't someone pretending to have CIA contacts, and isn't someone that's a pocho that has a husband that works for the American consulate in Ciudad de Mexico, like some of Ed Calderon's past guests. And here's something else about these guys too. Guess what? They've never been on Ed Calderon, and they've never been on Gafe 423, which is something else that's freaking crazy. And they report without something all over their face. Crazy, right? So I'm looking forward to bringing some more stuff with you. I put a substantial amount of time into this. And even though I have my own contacts and my own experience in Zacatecas, which is now central to all things cartel in Mexico, you know how many times I've been called by any of the people on the podcast that I've been on? As far as Julian Dory or any of that circle? Zero. Not one bit of instance. Hey, Dave, do you know anybody that could shed some light on this? But you'll get someone from Canada on the show. You'll get someone from Tijuana or living in Houston on the show. But you won't get someone that worked there on the show. And, it's kind of an affront, not to me, because I'm going to do my videos regardless. I've got people, I got 2 different podcasts I can go on right now, but I'm taking care of some family stuff right now. It's an affront to you guys because they are not trying to bring you the whole story. They're trying to present to you whatever polished turd they got, and that's what it is. Sounds poco professional? Yeah, it's poco professional, but I'm also like a realistic dude, and I just give you what it is. It is unprofessional on their part. So, hey, if any of you guys, Kat, Julian, Ed, my wife gets on me all the time for even bringing you guys up. She tells me I shouldn't. You know what? Frankly, I'm inclined to agree with her. But I'm a confrontational mofo, and you know what? If you guys ever want to get together and ask any question, I will answer any question in front of you. The only thing I ask is that you do the same. If you got the balls or the ovadios to do that with me, step up. Because I'll do it on my dime. I'll pay your guys' airfare. How about that? Yeah, dude. Cheers. Just what makes that little ant think it can move?